Do you think the Dolphins could trade for Brendan Smith? He's on the last year of his deal. I don't think the Colts can afford to keep him, so why not trade him? So here's the issue. The Colts aren't going to trade him because they need to figure out a way to protect their their investment that they made in Carson Wentz, first off. In terms of the Dolphins, they need to figure out something at left tackle. They need to figure out something on that offensive line simply because it's an absolute disaster right now. I just don't know if that's the route. I think the most notable name, the one that makes the most sense, is probably Andre Dillard. Let's go to Arthur Reyes. I'll do the same thing here, Arthur. That way we're on the same page. Better trade partner from Watson, Eagles or the Finns? If I was Watson myself, I would actually probably rather go to Philadelphia just because I think the market there is a little bit better. Though the Dolphins have a lot more playmakers than Philly does, but then also the Dolphins have a lot more draft capital, so it depends what's ultimately going to happen, but I still think that the Eagles would be more likely, even though I might even have more confidence in Jalen Hurts than Tua Tagovailoa at this point. Should the Dolphins trade Noah Igbinoghene before the deadline? I'm actually going to say yes, and two reasons here. One, Miami isn't using him correctly. Noah was one of the best, I'll say, inside cornerbacks at Auburn. And when you talk to Jalen Waddle before the draft process, he literally said, hey, the best cornerback that I ever went up against in college was Noah Igbinoghene. Now, for whatever reason, Miami's trying to put him on the outside when they have Byron Jones and Xavier Howard. So if they're not going to play a pick that they drafted, I believe, number 30 overall in the 2020 draft, there's going to be a team out there that's at least halfway interested in him and would probably give you a 4th-round pick for him, maybe a 5th-round pick. But if you're not going to play him, then yes, I actually think move on from him, trade him at the deadline. Also the deadline, November 2nd. We're going to be making some videos for that as well. Connor James, with Tua on IR and Brissett being bad, would Miami be better off signing Cam Newton? I still am going to go ahead and say no to that one. Jacoby Brissett, I actually don't think he played all that bad this past week. That offensive line is an absolute disgrace for calling it an O-line. The Bears might have a worse one. The Raiders are up there as well, but I'm going to go and say no, Cam Newton. I might actually rather have Jacoby Brissett at this point.
From Eddie Brock, well, the Dolphins' offense is offensive. Should they fire Studsville and Godseed? That's a great question. Here's the issues you run into if you're Miami. Obviously, your offense is terrible right now. You're bottom 5 in pretty much all the major categories. Part of that, unquestionably, is because if it wasn't clear already, it should be now. Tua is better than Jacoby Brissett. Like, that's very obvious. And the offensive line in Miami is bad. Now, sacks in part are a quarterback stat, but we're not going to pretend the O-line is good in Miami either. So for the Dolphins, there's this part too. If you're Brian Flores, you can't have a new OC every single year you've been in charge. At some point, you got to find some consistency, or you yourself is going to find himself getting replaced. Now, I'm not saying fire Brian Flores. I like him as a head coach, but the offensive side of the ball has not held up its end of the bargain yet in Miami. That's a bit of a red flag for the Dolphins moving forward. So I say keep him for now and hope they fare better with Tua once he's back in the not-too-distant future. Now, Brian Flores is not going to be, I don't think, the first head coach fired this year. Who do you guys, though, think it'll be? Get your votes in for me in the comments section. This is a pretty typical prop bet, by the way, available on BetUS during the week. So not available for Monday Night Football, but Wednesdays, Thursdays, normally up there. You can get a 125% deposit bonus when you head to chatsports.com/bet and you use promo code NFL Daily. $100 in, an extra $125 for free. From Ed, how much draft capital should the Dolphins invest right now and go out and trade for O-line help? Here's the problem, Ed. What offensive linemen who are available via trade are actually good and worth investing in? Especially on the offensive line. There's bad offensive line play across the NFL. And those bad teams, you know, the Steelers are 1-3. They don't have that great of offensive line play. The Jags are 0-4. Andrew Norwell's not playing very well. The Colts and Texans, I mean, If you can get back Laramie Tunsil, cool, but that seems like a bit of a stretch. The Lions don't have depth on the offensive line. O-line is very difficult to acquire because there's not a bunch of good extra players out there. So unless there's a fire sale team, Atlanta doesn't have the good offensive line play. Maybe if a team like the Lions want to sell, if the Giants sell on some of their undeveloping pieces, like maybe a Matt Parrott, but that seems like not really fixing your issues. Feels like more of a Eric Flowers, Austin Jackson 2.0. The O-line is a major issue for Miami, and I appreciate you raising that. Unfortunately, I don't think it's as simple as just go trade for somebody. I don't really know who's that good that's out there.
Now, if you're an NFL fan, I want you to go ahead and subscribe for free videos every single day. We're putting out 2 videos at least here at Chat Sports. Over 264,000 subs. So before you do anything, under the vid, click that red button that says subscribe. You're watching NFL Daily. Mitchell Renz here, ready to answer all y'all's questions. Make sure you use hashtag NFL to be featured. Nathan Wagner, Lawrence and Wilson are a bust so far. Who do you see Rookie of the Year? My choices are between Jamar Chase or CeeDee Lamb. Well, I can guarantee you this. It's not going to be CeeDee Lamb. In terms of Lawrence and Wilson so far, you're right. It has been pretty disappointing, but I think it has a lot to do with the talent around them. Jamar Chase has looked pretty good thus far. I'm still going to stick with probably Mac Jones because he has the most talent around him, but you're right. Has not been pretty, but maybe it's going to be Jamar Chase. But if Justin Jefferson put up over 1,400 yards last year and he didn't get it, I don't know if Chase is going to get it, but I can guarantee you CeeDee Lamb will not get it. Let's go to Arnold Graphk. Should the Dolphins trade Noah Igbinoghene before the deadline? Yes. Igbinoghene was drafted in the first round, number 30th overall, I believe, out of Auburn. He's a really good slot corner. I shouldn't say really good. He was really good in college in the slot. For whatever reason, Miami keeps putting him on the outside. They tried a few times last year, and Noah was bad last year. However, I would like to be able to give rookies a pass because 2020 for all of us was just a crazy, crazy year. But if you're not going to use them correctly, then yes, I say move on from them, see what you can get, and I believe a team would at least offer something, right? Like something for somebody that was drafted in the first round just a year ago.